Welcome back to Zion Valley. In this video, I'm going to talk to Daniel and Joshua and decide once and for all what to do about the white leg attacks. I'm on my way to deal with some white legs who are planting traps on a bridge along the road here.
It is good to travel with another. I spend so long scouting on my own that I forget what human company is like.
Disarming the traps is very straightforward. So what's your deal?
Waking Cloud is my name. I am midwife to the Sorrows. It sounds ill-omened, no? Midwife to Sorrows?
Midwife? I haven't seen any children around.
The children and the old have already been evacuated from the camp. They are safe enough, unless the white legs come for us in force.
What do you do when you're not delivering babies?
I tend to other hurts and sicknesses that afflict our tribe. I also scout the valley for the herbs I use in my medicines.
All right.
What would you speak of?
Do you have any family?
I do. A fine husband and 3 children. Miss them each day, but I take comfort in knowing they are safe.
Where are they?
When we learned that Salt Upon Wounds had defiled Zion with his presence, Daniel ordered the children, the old, and the sick evacuated from the camp. My husband volunteered to lead the hunters that went with them for protection. I try not to worry about them, but we have had no news for so long, and Daniel seems sad when I ask him about it. Sad and a little frightened.
I could talk to him.
Perhaps he will. I sometimes feel he thinks he must protect me. If he has news, I would know of it.
What do you know about Salt Upon Wounds?
He is war chief of the White Legs, and the worst butcher of them all. The tribes he has crushed are many. The warriors he has slain, countless.
That's all I wanted to know for now.
Then I will look forward to our next speaking.
I'm glad to see you're still with us. How can I help you?
Tell me about Waking Cloud's family.
What do you want to know exactly? I'm sure she could tell you much better than I.
Did you help the rest of her family leave Zion?
I did.
What's the matter? Did something happen?
Her 3 children are safe. They made it north weeks ago and met up with new Canaanites heading east. Her husband didn't make it. He died protecting their children from a white leg attack. Do not tell Waking Cloud. She is one of the only Sorrows who can communicate easily with us, and her tribe needs her to be strong right now.
Don't you think she has a right to know? It's her husband.
To everything, there is a season. Who are you or I to put this heavy burden on her now?
You're the new Canaanite who's supposed to help lead these people, not hide things from them.
I know, you're right. I shouldn't have hidden it from her in the first place. We can't fail here again. Zion can't become the next New Canaan. The Sorrows don't deserve that. They don't deserve any of this. Sometimes I look at them and wonder if they would have been better off if those old trails had stayed forgotten. If we had never found any of them. Tell Waking Cloud if you think that's best. I won't stop you.
Why are you so eager to evacuate Zion? You don't seem like a pacifist.
There's an old saying that goes, if you want peace, get ready for war. You've got me figured half right. I'll shoot dead any white leg that tries to creep into this camp. But it's only to protect the Sorrows. The Lord helps those who help themselves. But the Sorrows don't know how. Joshua and I do. Since I got them into this mess, I need to get them out.
If you're willing to defend the Sorrows, why not go after the Whitelegs.
There is an important difference between killing in defense and waging war. Even a Gentile like you should know that.
Let's talk more later.
Until then.
There are a lot of caves in the Soros camp, and I'm going to explore another one now. This one looks uninhabited, with a few old skeletons in it, and I see some traps that are still set up. There's another terminal belonging to Randall Clark, the man the Soros call the Father in the Caves. His notes talk about how he fought to protect the people living in this area from vicious gangs of raiders, like large groups of armed men coming out of Vault 22. In the end, he was able to protect them all and became sort of a godlike figure to the Soros. He lived apart from them in the caves, never really interacted with them, but told them to follow a pacifistic lifestyle, never attacking, but only fighting in self-defense. I also find his old armor from his time in the NCR, and it's very useful equipment, so I'm going to use it. This set of armor weighs 2 pounds more than my old equipment, but provides an extra 7 damage threshold, making me immune to even typical rifle shots. Daniel told me about your husband. I'm afraid he was killed by Whitelegs during the evacuation.
What? No. You must be mistaken. Daniel would have told me.
I'm afraid so. Daniel kept it from you because he thought the grief would distract you.
How dare he? What gives him the right? I thought Daniel was my friend, but he cares nothing for the Soros.
He was doing what he thought was best for the tribe. It wasn't an easy choice for him.
Perhaps. I will have to have a very long talk with Daniel when all of this is over. Thank you for telling me this truth.
I've leveled up again fighting Whitelegs, and I've realized I need to put all my points into speech for what's coming up. I have to kill a lot of Yaogwai to make this area safer.
No choice.
And I think the simplest way is to just shoot them with my big gun.
Let's move on. This place. Yaogwai. Even our strongest hunters could not hope to kill so many. There must be a nest nearby.
I've killed worse.
I hope that is truth, and not a boast. But I will respect your leadership.
Yaogwai meat works like a drug that makes you deal more damage in battle.
Keep business. I am glad it's over.
That Yaogwai nest was near the Dead Horses camp, so I'm gonna go have a chat with Follows Chalk.
Good job getting those supplies to Daniel. If you were a dead horse, you'd get a tattoo for that.
So, what's with this obsession you seem to have with civilization?
Let me tell you a story. When I was a boy, a man came through the valley with one of the caravans. Tall man, big mustache, carried a guitar. I asked what he did for his living, and the interpreter told me he was a singer. What is that? I asked. The man explained that he went from place to place and sang for people, who gave him food and shelter and care in return. I couldn't believe that there was a place in this world where a man could do that. I promised myself then that one day I'd explore that world myself.
What does Joshua think of this?
I haven't told him yet. Never had the Growans.
I could talk to him about it for you. Be a neutral party.
You'd do that? Sure. Sounds smart to me. He might not get so mad at you.
Welcome back. What can I do for you?
Follows Chalk seems like he's interested in seeing more of the world.
I thought he might. It's been some time since I visited civilized places. I don't have fond memories of them. But I have always seen these places from the outside, I'd rather not influence him more than I already do. Why don't you talk to him?
Fine by me. I prefer the wilderness.
Then let him know. Followschalk needs more guidance in his life. I'd prefer it not come from me. If people want to look at me for how to fight, I will show them how. I believe God put me on this earth for that very reason. But to live like me, think like me, no. There are better people for them to look to for such things.
Goodbye.
What can I tell you?
I talked to Joshua about your thoughts on civilization.
Yeah? What did he say?
He said that I should give you advice.
He said that? Well, I guess you have been out there more recently than he has. So, what's your advice?
You should stay here with your people. You have a duty to them.
I see. Well, thanks for your telling. I'd like a minute alone to think about this. Thank me.
I want to explore all that I can before reaching the end of Honest Hearts.
Stay cautious. Oh, Father, guide and protect us, your humble children, as we labor in your arms, and make us strong to resist those who would steal Zion from us.
I put all the points I can into speech, and for my perk, I'm going to take strong back, because I've picked up so many good weapons here that I want to be able to carry them all back to the Mojave, so carrying an extra 50 pounds is worth it. This is a camp that some Vault 22 dwellers used before the survivalists ambushed them and killed them because they were attacking other people in the valley. Near their camp, I got attacked by these weird mutated plants. They're surprisingly tough, but I'm able to kill them all. At this point, I've explored the valley thoroughly. I've fought the Whitelegs, fought Yaoguai, fought the Bighorners. So, I'm going to go talk to Daniel and end this.
I appreciate it. Well, that's it. This is all we need. Now all that's left is to quietly pack up and try to get out of here without being noticed. That's assuming that Joshua won't try to stop me. And that he hasn't talked you into fighting the Whitelegs despite what I've said. Don't worry, I don't hold it against you. You're an outsider. Fighting seems like the practical solution. I'll tell you again. There's more at stake.
I think Joshua's right. We should fight the Whitelegs.
No. Why? Why? Haven't you seen enough of what's going on here to see that the Sorrows don't need to butcher the Whitelegs for a piece of land? What Joshua wants is more than an attack. He wants a slaughter. And he needs more than you and the dead horses to do it. The Sorrows can't be pushed into this. You and Joshua don't have the right to force them into it. Please, consider what I'm saying.
And do you have the right to pull them off of their land?
I've already explained to them that we're leaving. They've accepted it. What is Joshua going to tell them about being a warrior? What are you going to tell them about how to live with themselves after they got lost in the moment, killed someone who didn't deserve to die? Or does that not matter? Is that just an acceptable consequence if it means holding on to this valley? Maybe there is no place left in this world for mercy. But even if it tramples me into the dust, I will never accept it. And I will never condone it. Joshua must be waiting for you. I'll stay here with the others as I told them I would.
Thank you for this. I know Daniel doesn't approve, but destroying the Whitelegs is the only way to ensure the Sorrows can remain in Zion. You and I will lead a group of Dead Horse warriors and Sorrows hunters into 3 Marys from this position. Our objective is to find the Whitelegs' leader, Salt Upon Wounds, and prevent him from fleeing. Show no quarter to the Whitelegs we come across. Make no mistake about why we are here. This is an extermination.
Let's do it.
God be with you.
So there's really no ideal way to finish Honest Hearts, but talking to the two leaders of the groups, it seems to me that Daniel is too much of an idealist, and he doesn't recognize that the Sorrow's beliefs involve fighting for themselves in self-defense, whereas Joshua Graham is a very warlike person, having been part of Caesar's Legion in the past, but he understands that the Sorrows have the ability to defend their land against the Whitelegs if they work together with the dead horses and fight back. So that seems to be the best way to approach this situation, and we can fight back since it's Caesar's Legion that's responsible for telling the Whitelegs that if they kill all of the other tribes, they would get to join the Legion. I'll level up from this fighting and put a bunch of points into speech, while also putting a few points into repair, because that'll let me load my gun with more powerful bullets, thanks to the hand loader perk and having 75 skill in repair. The Whitelegs fight in small, disorganized groups, so it's an easy fight to push through the valley and get towards Salt Upon Wounds. Here's where the main battle is happening, between the friendly tribes and the Whitelegs. Some of the Whitelegs are still fighting back. The ones that try to surrender are being slaughtered.
We warned you at Syracuse, and you persisted. You took advantage of us at New Canaan to drive us out. And like the dogs of Caesar you are, you followed us to Zion. And where you stand on holy ground, a temple to God's glory on earth. The only use for an animal in our temple is sacrifice. Kale wachane conserva o. You understand me, don't you? Don't you?
Outman. Kunaman mad. He killed all Whitelegs. You talk. You stop.
Whoa, this isn't what I signed up for. Let me talk to Joshua about this.
Him hear you. You talk.
Don't listen to this thing. His cries are those of a mad beast caught in a thicket. He gave no mercy to my family, and I will give none to his.
Joshua, you've already won. Look around you. There's no need to kill him.
He has a debt to pay for what he's done, and I've come to collect. And so he's chosen to cower in the water like a dumb animal.
If what you believe is true, he'll pay for it later. The Sorrows don't need to see you do this.
I want to take from them what they took from me, from my family. In this life, I want them to suffer. I want all of them to die in fear and pain. I want to have my revenge against him, against Caesar. I want to call it my own, to make my anger God's anger, to justify the things I've done. Sometimes I tell myself that these wildfires never stop burning. But I'm the one who starts them. Not God. Not them. I can always see it in my mind. The warmth and the heat. It will always be a part of me. But not today. Go. Get out of here. Go back. Back to the Great Salt Lake. That's it. It's finished. Thank you for staying with me. I couldn't have done this on my own. Let's go find Daniel Tomorrow will be here soon. And there is much to do.
I'm leveling up again. I'm gonna put points into medicine, which increases my Stimpak healing ability, and start putting some points into science. I can take the chemist perk, which makes all my chems, including alcohol and turbo, last twice as long.
And so it was that the conflict between the New Canaanites and the Whitelegs was finally resolved. The courier's involvement had tipped the scale, shifting the fragile balance of power.
Demoralized by the Dead Horse and Sorrow's attack the courier and Joshua Graham led against them, the Whitelegs retreated to Great Salt Lake. Their days were numbered. Word soon reached the 80s tribe that the Whitelegs' spirit was broken, their war chief a dim shadow of his former self. By year's end, the 80s would overrun the Whitelegs' camps, scattering the tribe to the winds and claiming the Great Salt Lake for its own.
The Sorrows fought beside Joshua Graham and the Dead Horses, eradicating the threat the Whitelegs posed to Zion. Seeing the courier convince Joshua Graham to spare Salt Upon Wounds, the Sorrows learned that retribution could be tempered by mercy. Though he despaired at the Sorrows' loss of innocence, Daniel took some small consolation in the courier's lesson, and prayed it would take root.
Having helped eradicate the Whitelegs from Zion, the Dead Horses returned to Dead Horse Point in triumph. They remained neutral toward the Sorrows, but as years went on, there were periods of competitive friction, even violence between the tribes. The New Canaanites, Daniel especially, intervened regularly as mediators, but found it difficult to reconcile the tribe's conflicts.
The defeat of the Whitelegs in Zion marked a turning point in the fortunes of the Happy Trails Caravan Company. Every 2 months, the caravan met with the New Canaanites in Zion Valley to trade. Happy Trails soon returned to prosperity. The vigilance of the Sorrows and Dead Horses in defending southwestern Utah, initially startling to Happy Trails caravans, soon proved a blessing. The tribes united against the 80s, driving them back from Highway 50, and thus opening yet another trading route for Happy Trails caravans.
Follows Chalk took the courier's words to heart and decided the big cities of the Mojave Wasteland and NCR were best left unexplored. Though he sometimes dreamed of distant lands, he continued to support his family at Dead Horse Point, and eventually, his wanderlust faded.
Waking Cloud was distraught when she learned of her husband's death, but took comfort from her tribe and the compassion of the New Canaanites. She forgave Daniel for having concealed her husband's fate from her, and learned to accept his fate. When her grief faded, she took a husband from the Dead Horse tribe. At her bidding, he stayed close to home.
The threat of the Whitelegs ended. Joshua Graham helped the Sorrows and Dead Horses tend to their fallen comrades and secure Zion. The courier's words had stayed Joshua's wrath in his darkest hour, and in sparing Salt Upon Wounds, he was changed. While he continued to advocate militant opposition to the enemies of New Canaan, he sometimes showed quarter to those who crossed his family. Eventually, this new spirit would diminish the myth of the burned man in distant lands. A small price for the peace it brought to Joshua Graham.
For years after the defeat of the Whitelegs, Daniel did his best to minister to the Sorrows' spiritual needs. Try as he might, he could not hold back the tribe's increasing militancy and reverence of Joshua Graham. Demoralized, he returned to his family and Dead Horse Point. His failures haunted him for the rest of his days.
And with that, the courier walked out of the history of the tribes of Zion and back to the gathering storm of the Mojave Wasteland.
That's Honest Hearts. It tells a good story, although I think it suffers from the Dances with Wolves problem where you have these outsiders competing to determine the fate of all these independent tribes. So, you have Daniel as this pacifist idealist who says the tribes should just keep running even after they've been chased out of their old lands by the Whitelegs. And then Joshua Graham is this genocidal former member of the Legion who says they should kill all of their enemies to the last man. And so I think the courier is able to intervene and teach the Soros and dead horses the value of self-defense, but without becoming insane with vengeance. It's a complicated conflict, but I think I handled it the best way possible. Also, I took Salt Upon Wound's helmet, which gives me a higher chance to get critical hits in combat. That's going to be very useful as my character becomes more oriented towards critical hits. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Saturday.